Your Majesties, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for always coming back. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you're well in all that you do and you're loving yourself and others like always, and you're living your life in the way that you are becoming more in tune to the Creator in you. You are becoming more spiritual, sweetheart, because there is no gain in just being religious if you are not spiritual, because the main thing happen spiritually. So all those religiosity acts we do are nothing if we are not spiritual. And hope you're striving to be spiritual and you're living your life in your own way and you are being fulfilled in all that you do, because these are important. Do remember to always give our video a thumbs up. Like right now, just hit that like button. Hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to the channel to be part of, obviously, the family.
Do you want to know what is a scam? A scam is having the Bible translated into Swahili, Yoruba, Igbo, Zulu, and every other African language, but having 0 scientific books translated into a single African language. That is a conspiracy, that is a trap, and that's a scam. Someone who can be scammed with the same trick over and over again for decades upon decades is considered a fool, and their gullibility and lack of critical thinking make them willing participants in their own destruction. I have walked into different libraries, and I have seen university science books translated into Chinese, Russian, Portuguese, Arabic, and so forth. I have seen Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill translated into French. I have seen the Japanese version of A Man's Search for Meaning. I have seen the Spanish version of Alchemist. I have seen the Arabic version of The Art of War. All these books, I have seen them in various languages, but none in any African language. An African child is sent to Arabic school just to learn Arabic, so that he can read the word of her supposed creator, while the Arab prays and learn in their own language. African child learns and pray in other languages. You will find churches in Africa where the English became preacher would have a native translator next to them doing the translation. Here's where the scam comes. And you will never find a school in Africa where the teacher will have a translator next to them to translate chemistry, physics, mathematics, geography, economics to the students. I have seen many science books translate into various languages, but none in any African language. The Chinese are taught mathematics in Chinese. The Japanese are taught engineering in Japanese. They are all taught finance, chemistry, astrophysics, accounting, medicine, geology, government in their languages. The only book that Africans have had in their languages is the Bible and Quran. The only time Africans have something translated them to in their language is in a church and mosque. The black African wretched of the earth is the only member of the human race who has been brainwashed to think that his ancestors bequeathed him with a curse that has prevented him from attaining his goal and desires. Almost every misfortune he encounters on earth is the fault of some ancestors who must be bound and cast in the fire of the Holy Ghost. The white people don't have terrible ancestors. The Arab that enslaved Africans for 700 years don't have wicked ancestors. No member of humans race has wicked ancestors who have done terrible things. No, it's only the black Africans. Black Africans are the only member of human race that will sit down, write a movie script to mock or belittle his or her heritage, In Western world, Xmas is the biggest festival. Christmas stemmed from both the Roman paganism and Roman cultures. The biggest festival in Arab world is Eid al-Fitr. The biggest festival in Israel is Pesach. The biggest festival in China is Spring Festival. Festival of Light is the biggest festival in India. Black people are probably the only human species on planet Earth that helps other race celebrate their own festivals, but nobody celebrates theirs with them. They generally believe their own ways are inferior. Therefore, it's hard for them to evolve the beautiful things their ancestors left. He belittled the ancestors who gave him life. The continent is the only continent where Christianity and Islam concept of a God is shared equally. Even though both preach peace and love, yet there is no peace and love. When an African man is not praying to a foreign God, he will be treating himself in a foreign hospital, or visiting another man's country for religious purposes, or praying to his own creator in Arabic. He calls another man's history holy book, just because they told him to ask him, what is holy about the book? It's an abomination for him to see the world through his own culture. Slaves weren't allowed to do that. He steals money from his land to keep in a foreign land. His God and his country was created for him. No wonder nobody respects him. The black man is roaming around the world like a tortoise without a shell. He has no backbone, zero identity. No one respects him. He is lynched in Malaysia, incarcerated in Cambodia. He is shot like a dog in the streets of America. Not until we all free our minds from mental slavery, we will be wretched of the world.
Your Majesties, did you hear all that? Like, these are all facts put together. Put together, I tell you. There are a lot of things that struck me. I don't know about you. There are a lot of things that hits me so hard. But we're going to pick this gradually, and we're going to talk about, we're going to expatiate, because it's present in our lives. Like, we are living, and this is real. Like, this is for real. This is for real, sweetheart. It's still happening. Like, one of the first things that was emphasized on was the fact that no science book is translated to any African language. If you have any in your dialect, if you are African, you have any in your dialect, do leave a comment there and let me know that you have a science book that is translated into whichever language that you speak. Sweetheart, I'm going to still do a video here, and I'm going to say that all my people, we have a language that really have a science book translated into. Alright? But we don't see this as a problem, because the white man have told us it's not a problem. So we don't see it as a problem. Now, the Bible has been translated a whole lot of times to almost all our languages. In every country in Africa, the Bible is translated to almost all the indigenous languages. My tribe, I have a Bible translated in my tribe. And like something that was pointed out, to the point that when a preacher is preaching, there is an interpreter by the side that interprets with the native language of that particular land. There is always a preacher that always interprets, so that the people can understand the words of the Most High. So beautiful. And you wouldn't go to a school where they use the local dialect to teach the children everything. Now, even if you go to a school where some of the teachers uses the local dialect to teach, even we look at those teachers as army teachers. So I understand what I'm saying. We look at those teachers as teachers that really do not pass, like they didn't study very well in school. Why will you be using this type of language to teach children? Oh my goodness. That is why these children could not speak fluent English, because you don't use a fluent language, a good language to teach them. It is only in Africa that when you are graduating from the normal elementary school, before you get to the university or the college, you have to have a reasonable amount in English language. We gave up our religion, we gave up our cultures, to the point that when you get into a church and you dress in your local attire, oh my goodness, you will only be the one that people will focus on that day, because it will be like, oh, really? You get that type of sign. You get a lot of attention. Concepts of ancestors. We are told that our ancestors are demonic people, are satanic people. We don't need to mention them. But do you know something about the Chinese that I love? Most of the times I see these things, and it was it last week or 2 days ago, I was even saying it to my daughter. I was like, these people are so in tune to their culture, that you see an ancestor of them is, they enlarge a very big photo of the ancestors and place it somewhere in a room, like their clan head. They place it somewhere in a room and it's lit, there are candles there, and that room is so kept neat and everything. And you know what these people go in there to do? There are days they set aside for ancestral worship. A date set aside where they all go into that room and have a deep bow. There are people that kneel down and put their head on the floor in worship of that ancestor. They give, you get the point. They do everything to honor their ancestors. There's nothing wrong. It's a normal thing to them. They bow to that ancestor is a normal thing to them. But when you do it in any home in Africa, especially in Nigeria, oh my goodness, you have the picture of your great grandfather maybe in your sitting room, And then maybe before you pass through to your dining, you have to bow to that picture. Do not allow anybody from your church see you doing that. Because do you know what will start circulating? They're going to tell everybody around you that you are doing demonic acts, demonic practices. There is a picture of one old man like that you always bow to. You know, the way they will twist it, they will make you look like a very demonic human being. And these are the people. This is a person where you came out from. The line, the bloodline. Thereby, you know, the way these things, the level of which this thing went through. There is no pictures of our ancestors even close by us. Because we're already told that these people are devils. They are witches and wizards. And when we look at them, we look at the devil. To the point that we run away from our grandparents and our great-grandparents. We call them devils. They look like devils. You can't sleep in a room where your great-grandmother or your great-grandfather is peacefully. You will be shaking in the night. You have to pray serious prayer in case that person will devour you at night. And this fear is so real. And the reason why it's so real is because we divert our energy and our consciousness into believing that our great-grandparents are devils. They are witches and wizards. But their own is not. Their own is godly. It's heavenly. Their ancestors are praised and worshipped. And that is why they can easily tell us that white men are saints in heaven. They died, they became saints. But it is very hard for them to accept that black people died and became saints. Even from everything, sweetheart, this whole thing is just so evident in our lives and everything that happened to us. Like it is seen in everything. It is seen in everything. There is no doubt. There is no doubt about this at all. I was so ashamed when I saw this, and I felt like, why not I share this with you? Because these people dealt with us. They dealt with us so hard. And that is why to some point, when people deny, like when you talk and they look at you like you're something else, I do not blame them. Because it's the level. I was like that. This is the level of the colonization. It is, we grew with it. Just imagine a belief you grew with. A belief you grew with. Tell me, how are you going to feel it? You grew with this belief in you. And then someone is now telling you it's not like that. It will be difficult for you to accept it. And that is why I don't just easily tell, like when I hear some ignorant comments, when I see some ignorant comments or hear them, I do not, I just laugh. I don't just get angry immediately. I laugh over it at first because it's like, oh, I was there. I was there. I understand how you feel. You get the point. Those times where someone will tell you that the Jesus is not a Jesus, he's a homosexual. That Jesus is a partner of Leonardo da Vinci. And will be like, Holy Ghost fire, I reject you, I cast and bind you, like what he said, casting and binding your ancestors. I cast and bind you, I reject you, every demonic forces. Oh, we've started praying, we will cast you, we will bind you. We will throw you down to the pit of hell where you will not be able to come out from. Fear. Do you know what fear does to you? Fear limits your capabilities, your potentials, your gifts. Fear limits that God gene in you, that God DNA that you possess. That creator DNA in you, it limits it. So instead of you to discover something or create new things, you tell yourself, what if I do it like this and I'm doing it against the will of the Almighty? Those fears, it push you in, it pull you back into the circle created for you where you were born. Now when you do not begin to let go of some things, that fear will keep being what tie you down, and you will not be able to do what you should do. You see people who are a bit aged and you rate them as people who will be so wise and can tell you things about life in another aspect. And when you listen to them speak, you ask yourself, why is it that I even think faster than this person? These are people that decide to limit themselves into the circle. They do not want to break out of it. And the reason is because of fear. What if I break out of it? And do you know what these people does to us? They put this fear in us. Because they know already that it is fear that can limit man's possibilities. There's a lot more. What do you think about this for now? Because we have a lot to do. What do you think about this? Leave your comment and thought there in the section, and I'll see you in my next one. Until then, love yourself, love others, stay safe, stay positive. Bye for now.